Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ati Mataji, Ritesh Prabhu, Pawan Prabhu, Vishwanath Prabhu for chanting. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Danvatanam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, let's continue with the prayers. Radha Kripa Kataksh, Vaishila Vyasadev, and Shri Mahadev. Anybody else would like to sing today? Okay, then I'll continue. You can sing along while you're on mute. मुनीन्द्रवृन्दवन्दिते त्रिलोकशोकहारिणि प्रसन्नवक्त्रपङ्कजि निकुञ्जभूविलासिनि व्रजेन्द्रभानुनन्दिनि व्रजेन्द्रसूनुसङ्गते कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अशोकवृक्षवल्लरी वितानमण्डपस्थिते प्रवालवालपल्लव प्रभारुनाग्रिकोमले वराभयस्फुरत्करे प्रभूतसम्पदालये कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अनङ्गरङ्गमङ्गलप्रसङ्गभङ्गुर भ्रुवां सविभ्रमं ससम्भ्रमं त्रिगन्तबाणपातनि निरन्तरं वशीकृत प्रतीतिनन्दनन्दने कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् तडित्सुवर्णचम्पकप्रदीप्तगौरविग्रहे मुखप्रभापरास्तकोटिशारदेन्दुमण्डले विचित्रचित्रसञ्चरचकोरशावलोचने कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् मदोन्मतादियौवने प्रमोदमानमण्डिते प्रियानुरागरञ्जिते कलाविलासपण्डिते अनन्यधन्यकुञ्जराज्यकामकेलिकोविदे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अशेषहावभावधीरहीरहारभूषिते प्रभूतशातकुम्भकुम्भकुम्भिकुम्भसुस्तनि प्रशस्तमन्दहास्यचूर्णपूर्णसौख्यसागरे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् मृणालवालवल्लरीतरङ्गरङ्गदोलते लताग्रलास्यलोलनीललोचनावलोकने ललल्लुलन्मिलन्मनोज्ञमुग्धमोहनाश्रिते कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् सुवर्णमालिकाञ्चितत्रिरेखकम्बुकण्ठगे त्रिसूत्रमङ्गलीगुण त्रिरत्नदीप्तिदीधिति सलोलनीलकुन्तलप्रसूनगुच्छगुम्फिते कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् नितम्बबिम्बलम्बमानपुष्पमेखलागुणि प्रशस्तरत्नकिङ्किणि कलापमध्यमञ्जुले करीन्द्रसुषुण्डदण्डिकावरोह शोभगोरके कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अनेकमन्त्रनादमञ्जुनूपुरावस्कलत् समाजराजहंसवंशस्निग्धवान्ति गौरवे विलोलहेमवल्लरी विडम्बिचारुचङ्क्रमे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् अनन्तकोटिविष्णुलोकनम्रपद्मजार्चिते हिमाद्रिजापुलोमजा विरिञ्चिजा वरापदे अपारसिद्धिरिद्धिदिग्धसत्पदाङ्गुलीनखे कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् मखेश्वरी क्रियेश्वरी स्वदेश्वरी सुरेश्वरी त्रिवेदभारतीश्वरी प्रमाणशासनेश्वरी रमेश्वरी क्षमेश्वरी प्रमोदकाननेश्वरी व्रजेश्वरी व्रजाधिपे श्रीराधिके नमोऽस्तुते इति ममद्भुतं स्तवं निशम्य भानुनन्दिनि करोतु सन्तमं जनं कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं भवेत् तदैव सञ्चित त्रिरूपकर्मनाशनं भवेत् तदा व्रजेन्द्रसूनुमण्डलप्रवेशनम् कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनं कदा करिष्यसि मां कृपाकटाक्षभाजनम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्री राधा कृपा कटाक्ष की जय श्रील व्यासदेव की जय श्रील महादेव की जय जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय Okay, we'll read the Palashruti, 13th stanza of this nice prayer. Anybody would like to read this translation?
Hare Krishna. I can read Prabhuji.
Yes, please, Aarti Mataji. Yeah.
May Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini, upon hearing my astonishing prayer recited, bestow her most merciful sidelong glance upon the speaker. At that time, one will feel all the effects of past, present, and future karma completely destroyed and gain entrance into the assembly of Nandanandana's Krishna eternal loving devotees. That aspiring devotee who chants this prayer on the full moon day, waxing 8th lunar day, 10th lunar day, 11th lunar day, Ekadashi, and 13th lunar day, will find that his mind and intelligence become pure. Each and every desire will be fulfilled without fail, and by the most merciful sidelong glance of Sri Radha, one will obtain pure ecstatic love, prema. The aspiring devotee who recites this prayer 100 times while in the waters of Sri Radha Kund up to the thighs, navel, chest, or neck attains complete perfection in religiosity, economic development, fulfillment of desires, and liberation. The power by which everything spoken will come true, and great opulence from attaining transcendental majesty. At that time, one gets to meet Sri Radhika face to face, seeing seeing her even with one's own present eyes, and Sri Radhika becomes so pleased that she instantly bestows the greatest vindication of being able to see her own beloved Shyam Sundar Krishna with one's present eyes. Then Lord Krishna, the Lord of Brajadam, grants one entrance into his eternal ecstatic pastimes, which is the only goal for which true Vaishnavas hanker. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so everything, all the perfection is available by reciting this prayer to Srimati Radharani, as it said here. जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष everything. So what to speak of just these lower uh, fruits of following dharma artha kama moksha, all of this is attained, and ultimately, as we say, Shri Radha Kund is the topmost in terms of spiritual hierarchy as given by Sri Rupa Goswami. So we attain the topmost love for the Lord, prema, also by reciting this prayer to Srimati Radharani. Okay, so in this world, people are unfortunately, after all these things, some are just following religion for the sake of religion, some are following all these so called politicians, and like we were reading yesterday, they are after economic development, some are after just the fulfillment of their material desires, and some yogis are only after liberation because they are fed up with this material creation, so they want to just get liberated and don't want to do anything. But these are all lower levels of lower rungs of realization on the spiritual path. The topmost is developing our selfless devotional service, and unconditional love for the Lord. So that is the topmost gift that we can get by reciting this prayer. And Prabhupada, as we was teaching yesterday in Prabhupada Lilamrit, as we are concluding chapter 51, chant and fight, he was saying all these so-called politicians, scientists, theologians, they are all Naradhama, Mudha, Duskritana. They are not even willing to believe that there is God, right? So that means that they are not sane. They are lower than even animals. But yeah, Prabhupada is also teaching his disciples that he has done his work now. He has done his part. Now it is up to them to move forward, take this movement forward, chastise these so-called rascals who are not even believing in God. But he said everything that he needed to be done, he needed to do, has already been done. He has done his part. He has given us all his ideas and directions in his books. We just have to read them. So that was his instruction to his disciples. And of course, we saw they went and they were going to meet the Prime Minister that time, Morarji Desai. They were delayed a little bit by Mr. Rajda, so they could only give him the books, but didn't really have any discussion much. But anyway, Prabhupada said, anyway, these people will not change their views. Prabhupada was probably seeing in his internal mind, that these elections and these politicians will come and change. Today it's a tiger, tomorrow it's a lion. But their point of view remains the same. They are living on the bodily platform, not even willing to accept Bhagavad Gita as it is. And finally, Prabhupada is now willing to move from Bombay. He's thinking to go to Rishikesh so that way he can recover a little bit from his physical health standpoint. Okay, so let's continue chapter 52. I have done my part. The first week in Rishikesh was idyllic, heavenly, with perfect weather and hopes of Prabhupada eating and recovering. But on the eighth night, a violent storm hit, and with the storm came a drastic turn in Prabhupada's health. He said the end was near, and he asked to go immediately to Vrindavan in case Krishna wanted him to depart from the world very soon. The devotees in Rishikesh had been in high spirits, and so had Srila Prabhupada. While crossing the Ganges by boat, Prabhupada had requested drinking water to be fetched from the center of the river. He had liked the lodge provided by his host, and he had even gone into the kitchen to show his disciples how to cook. Word had spread through the pilgrimage tourist town that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami was present, and Prabhupada had agreed to hold a darshan from 5 to 6 p.m. daily. The room had always been crowded at that hour with about 40 to 50 people, including Western hippies and seekers, as well as Indians on pilgrimage or vacation. Although Srila Prabhupada's voice had been extremely faint, he had spoken with force, stressing Bhagavad Gita as it is. When an American hippie had questioned him skeptically, Prabhupada had replied, "You cannot understand because you are crazy." And when a lady had put forward materialistic welfare work as the highest good, Prabhupada had replied, "Your compassion is as valuable as blowing on a boil to heal it." Only a few disciples were with Srila Prabhupada and Rishikesh, and they had deemed it a wonderful treat. Not only had Prabhupada directed the cooking, but he had told stories while cooking. He had said that only a lazy man couldn't cook. And then he told a Bengali story, the story of a lazy man, to illustrate. There was a king who decided that all lazy men in his kingdom could come to the charity house and be fed. So many men came, all claiming, "I am a lazy man." The king then told his ministers to set fire to the charity house, and all but two men ran out of the burning building. One of the two said, "My back is becoming very hot from the fire," and the other advised, "Just turn over to the other side." The king then said, "These are actually lazy men, feed them." But on the evening of May 15, Srila Prabhupada could neither sleep nor work at his dictation. The storm, a harbinger of the monsoon season, knocked out all electric power in Rishikesh. Since the fans were not running and the window shutters had to be closed because of the wind, the room became very hot. At 5 in the morning, Srila Prabhupada called for Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and said he was feeling weak. Tamal Krishna Maharaj massaged Prabhupada for an hour. Even at dawn, the wind did not let up and sand was blowing. The storm and the power failure continued the next night. Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada about the swelling in his hands and feet, and Prabhupada replied, annoyed, "Why are you bothering? It is my body, and I am not disturbed." But then he added, from the material point of view, it is not good. Please consider how everything may be turned over to the GBC so that in my absence everything will go on. You may make a will and I will sign it. He was talking definitely about things that before he had only alluded to. Suddenly, at 1:30 a.m., Prabhupada rang his bell and Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Shri Shri Gopinath responded. From beneath his mosquito net, he said, as I was telling you, the symptoms are not good. I want to leave immediately for Vrindavan. If it was time for him to pass away, he said, then let it be in Vrindavan. Since he wanted to leave immediately, the devotees stayed up all night packing and preparing to leave. Train reservations were not available, however, so they decided to go by car. Srila Prabhupada rode in the back seat of the small ambassador, sometimes stretching out on the seat. Upendra sat at his feet on the floor, while Tamal Krishna Maharaj sat in the front next to Damodar Pandit, an experienced driver, who drove fast but with utmost care. Often Damodar Pandit would glance into the rear view mirror and meet Srila Prabhupada's attentive gaze. At one point, when Prabhupada saw a man selling cucumbers, he asked Damodar to stop the car. Cucumbers, he said, were good for quenching thirst. After 4.5 hours, they reached Delhi and stopped at the ISKCON center in Lajpat Nagar. It was very hot. The devotees watered down the roof and Srila Prabhupada rested there on a cot. By 5 the next morning, they were ready to set out for Vrindavan. At the Delhi temple, the devotees had given Prabhupada a large plate of deities prasadam, but he had only taken a few tastes. Eating is finished, he had said. I prayed to Krishna to be freed from eating and sleeping, and it is happening. I have already given up mating and defending. Now all these material activities are finished with. As they drove out of the city and into the countryside, Tamal Krishna Maharaj noticed that Srila Prabhupada seemed more peaceful. You look very happy to be going to Vrindavan, said Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Yes, Prabhupada replied. Vrindavan is my home and Bombay is my office. As they turned off the Delhi Agra road, Srila Prabhupada saw for the first time the stone marker, Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. They soon met up with Gunarnava, who was waiting on a motorcycle and who joyfully sped ahead to tell the devotees at the Krishna Balaram Mandir that Srila Prabhupada was here. At the gate of the temple, a big kirtan party, including all the Gurukul children, was gathered to greet Prabhupada with chanting and dancing. 4 devotees carried Prabhupada on a palanquin to the temple hall, where he offered his respects to the 2 lords, Krishna and Balaram. After the Aarti ceremony honoring Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada spoke briefly to the assembled devotees. If death takes place, he said, let it take place here. Seeing his demeanor and hearing him speak these unexpected words, some of the devotees in the room began to cry. So he continued, there is nothing to be said new. Whatever I have to say, I have spoken in my books. Now try to understand it and continue your endeavors. Whether I am present or not present, it doesn't matter. As Krishna is living eternally, similarly the living being also lives eternally. But Kirti Yasyasa Jivati, one who has done service to the Lord, lives forever. So you have been taught to serve Krishna. So with Krishna, our life is eternal. The temporary disappearance of this body, it doesn't matter. This body is meant for disappearance. So live forever by serving Krishna. Despite the finality of these words, Srila Prabhupada continued to converse in his room with a few guests who remained after most of the devotees had left. A retired family man, a Mr. Bose, was present and told Prabhupada how he was now living alone in the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Prabhupada said, you will not be able to adjust to this way of life. But when Mr. Bose expressed his determination, Prabhupada added, you have a very good family, so it is hopeful. Srila Prabhupada went on to recall some of his activities at Rishikesh, and he spoke of how his movement was growing stronger around the world and how in New York the judge had made a very favorable decision. A little later, the conversation turned to ghosts, and Prabhupada told about the haunted house of Loknath Malik in Calcutta. Prabhupada had also rented a ghost house in Lucknow. I am not afraid of ghosts, he said. I am ghost proof. In England, there are also many ghosts. They are generally evil, and sometimes they even kill. They can be seen sometimes entering a latrine or sitting on a pillar. By offering pinda, one can free his forefathers from ghostly bodies. In Mayapur, there were Mohammedan ghosts, but not anymore. But our chanting Hare Krishna, by our chanting Hare Krishna, ghosts are driven away. Prabhupada began a routine. In the morning, he would ride in the car at least a short distance down Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. Although even riding was difficult for him, the morning air would be fresh and cool compared to the heat of the day, and the road, lined with neem trees and shrubs, was pleasant. Each morning he would come back and faithfully, lovingly behold Shri Krishna and Balaram. Then he would sit or rest in his main room and later move upstairs, where a desk and a chair as well as bed were set up on the outdoor veranda of his house. Here also, the devotees had thrown water on the floors for cooling. His main room downstairs had an air cooler. Srila Prabhupada was still prone to becoming involved in management, and he asked his secretary to report to him on the various ISKCON activities. You become my eyes, he said. But to think that the Bombay project was not yet completed disturbed him very much. I have worked so far to get done whatever is accomplished, he told Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Now, if the deities are not properly installed in my presence, it will be a great shock. But ISKCON management was too much botheration, and Prabhupada told Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you must give me complete relief from management. Tamal Krishna Maharaj mentioned that Prabhupada would sometimes become upset if he was not informed about ISKCON management, but Prabhupada said better not to inform him. Now take it that I am dead, he said. Tamal Krishna took this remark to mean that the leaders of ISKCON should manage all problems just as if Prabhupada were no longer present. They should relieve him so he would be free to think of Krishna and Balaram. And Prabhupada confirmed that this was the right idea. Give me that chance, he said. After one day in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada wrote, I was staying in Rishikesh hoping to improve my health, but instead I have become a little weaker. Now I have come back to my home, Vrindavan. If anything should go wrong, at least I will be there. I will be here in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada called for Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. There are two things, he said, trying to survive and to prepare for death. It is better to plan for the worst. Arrange to always have 3 or 4 men with me. Have Kirtan and read Bhagavatam all the time. Now I am trying to take little food. Parikshit Maharaj would not even take water. Seeing Srila Prabhupada's mood, Tamal Krishna mentioned the need for a will, and Prabhupada agreed. A will, he said, was simple enough. Whatever he spoke, several men could sign as witnesses. He recalled how his spiritual master, just before a hernia operation, had made a very simple will on a scrap of paper. Although he never underwent that operation, years later the same will was presented in court and was accepted as evidence against the plots of some of the disciples. He was the original founder, said Prabhupada. So whatever he wills, that is accepted. When Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked why Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj had not undergone the operation, Prabhupada replied, everyone has their sentiment. He thought that the doctor was paid to kill him. Yes, said Tamal Krishna Maharaj, because sometimes people were actually paid off to kill him. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, you and your Guru Maharaj were the greatest enemies of modern civilization in this century. Srila Prabhupada explained, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, Bharat Bhumite Haila. This is India's culture. The whole world is in darkness, and they are risking their life in the transmigration of one body to another. He does not know that he is eternal and that in a few years this fragment is passing away. This life is just a passing flash. This is the Vaishnava's concern. What these rascals are doing, they are jumping like monkeys, wasting time. This is the Vaishnava's compassion. Paradukha Dukhi. When some other devotees gathered in Srila Prabhupada's room, Tamal Krishna Maharaj explained Prabhupada's recent decision. So Srila Prabhupada has decided that the best medicine would be Srimad Bhagavatam and Kirtan, and no need of any doctors who have promised to help save the life. We shouldn't bring them, and no outsiders. No medicine for the body? Asked the devotee. Oh, whatever medicine I am taking, said Srila Prabhupada, Yogendra Ras. He has tried so many medicines, Tamal Krishna Maharaj said. Every doctor has come and they have each given their medicine and he has tried them. This medicine always works. Srimad Bhagavatam and Kirtan. Bhavav Shadhach Shrotra Mano Abhiramat, quoted Srila Prabhupada. He had been quoting it again and again. It pleases the ear and the mind. Bhavav Shadhach Shrotra Mano Abhiramat, Sa Uttama Shloka Gunanu Vadat. Make glorification of Bhagavan and everyone will appreciate it except the animal. At Srila Prabhupada's request, Kirtans by a group of no more than 4 or 5 devotees and Bhagavatam readings went on constantly, whether he was in his room, on the veranda, or on the roof. In the morning from 5 to 10 and in the evenings from 3 to 9, he would sit with his eyes closed, absorbed in the Kirtan, the medicine for the disease of material existence which gives pleasure to the mind and ear. Tamal Krishna promised to Prabhupada he would read him no letters and bring him no visitors. Prabhupada had long wanted this, and now it at least would come to pass. The writing of the will would not be done with the attitude that the end had come, but in the spirit of preparing for the worst. It also meant finishing things so they would not have to be done at the last minute. Prabhupada was concerned that his movement continued securely with all ISKCON properties in the possession of his disciples within the institution, and all his instructions made clear for the future. These matters should be dispatched now in a will, and the GBC men should gather in Vrindavan to make these last arrangements and to be with him. Once these things were settled, Prabhupada would be free to continue writing his books with no worries. Tamal Krishna Maharaj later asked Srila Prabhupada whether his new decisions indicated that he was losing his desire to fight to live. Srila Prabhupada indirectly admitted it was so. Therefore, he said, I do not wish to leave Vrindavan. If by Krishna's desire I survive, then we shall see later on. Otherwise, even though his secretary did not read him letters or bring him news, Prabhupada went on thinking, what about the Radha Damodar temple? He asked. He had been renting his rooms there for years, and the temple proprietors had often challenged his rights. This was just another of his multifarious worries in maintaining his preaching around the world. Prabhupada advised that his disciples always live in the Radha Damodar rooms. That would prevent the landlord from trying to use them for something else. Even while lying quietly, resting, Prabhupada would turn over such problems in his mind. Tamal Krishna Maharaj wanted to double check to see that Prabhupada actually wanted all the GBC men from all over the world to come. It would be costly and demanding, so he wanted to be sure that Prabhupada really wanted it. When Srila Prabhupada assured him that he did, Tamal Krishna, who saw his service as responding to whatever Srila Prabhupada desired, also spoke in favor of the idea. Because they love you, said Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I'm sure they will all want to come and be with you. Your love for me, said Srila Prabhupada, will be shown by how much you cooperate to keep this institution together after I am gone. The room was fully decorated with rose and jasmine garlands. The Kirtan party was singing sweetly and softly. Srila Prabhupada would go for hours without speaking, and when he did speak, he was usually brief. Yet he covered the same range of topics as always, and in the same pure Krishna consciousness. Recalling the contractors cheating in Bombay, he said, it is not only a sin to cheat, but it is sinful to allow yourself to be cheated. With so much effort and difficulty, both from my part and my disciples, the money has been collected, and now it becomes spoiled. I cannot allow this. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's pause here. So Prabhupada has done his part, and even till the end, he's teaching how to continue, how to this everything like he says, Krishna, the Lord is eternal, the Jiva is eternal. The movement is also eternal. We should eternally continue to take this forward. And we can take this forward by serving sincerely and by cooperating. It's a very, very important instruction. This was the kind of final instruction that Prabhupada gave. Your love for me will be shown by how much you cooperate to keep this institution together after I'm gone. So in that mood, we should all serve Srila Prabhupada so that we can show him that we love him and we can make him happy. And yeah, and while going to Vrindavan, he was going to Delhi, and that is very nice because even today, Delhi is of course, Delhi is the capital of India, and we have a very wonderful temple in Delhi, not just one. Now we have almost 19-20 temples in the greater Delhi region. And yeah, as long as Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he would have that program where devotees would actually come, all senior devotees from ISKCON, disciples of Srila Prabhupada will all, whenever they come to India, they will land in Delhi, they will stay there for a day or two, and then they will go to Vrindavan. So it was a very nice program to make the Delhi temple kind of the center while devotees are going to Vrindavan. So like that, here it is good to read today that Prabhupada also did the same. By coming from Rishikesh, he went to Delhi, he rested for a night, and then he traveled to Vrindavan. So yeah, and reading and this instruction that he's giving, that in the end, it is everything is about just all material desires and diseases will go away just by chanting the holy name by Kirtan and by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So again, that is what we see most of Prabhupada's disciples also do today as they, after the Mangalarti and they are in their personal rooms, they were doing their personal deities seva, etc. My Guru Maharaj, whenever he used to do that, I remember he would remember sitting there, and as they would be worshipping the deities, there would be reading of Srimad Bhagavatam going on in the background, and Guru Maharaj would be listening as he's performing his service. So like that, all the things that Prabhupada taught, you see again how his disciples imbibed those qualities. And that's what Prabhupada wanted. That he said, all my directions and all the ideas, everything that I wanted to say is there in the books. You just have to see it, read it, and follow it. So that's what they have done. So that's what we should also learn, and we should see those um, qualities that Prabhupada's disciples had, and as many of them are in their prime now. Some have already gone back to the eternal world in their Nitya Leela with Srila Prabhupada. Some are also at the fag end of their pastime on this earth. So we should learn from all of Prabhupada's disciples that how lovingly they have carried on Prabhupada's will and instructions for the last 5 decades. So in that same mood and spirit, we should continue as Prabhupada's grandchildren. Like we said, Prabhupada said, grandfather is more merciful than father. So for us, Srila Prabhupada is more merciful by virtue of following our spiritual fathers, our Guru Varga. So when we do that, then we are following in the principle of servant of the servant of the servant. Just like Hanumanji, yesterday we were talking about, he is the prime servant of the Lord. And when we serve him as a servant of the servant of the servant, then we are following the instruction as Prabhupada gave us. Okay, anybody else would like to share, say anything from today's reading? No other thoughts, no other comments? Okay, all right. If nothing else, then we'll pause here for today. Thank you so much. Today is Wednesday. Yeah, so tomorrow is our Thursday, Thanksgiving. Kirtan, as Prabhupada wanted, Kirtan should go on. So we'll be having our Thanksgiving Kirtan at our original home. Like Prabhupada said, this is my home, Vrindavan. So similarly, for us in Cincinnati, our home is our C2 center, since this is our hopefully and would be by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, potential place for our temple in the future by his mercy. So we'll see. And so that is our home right now. So we are also going back home to our C2 tomorrow with our first Kirtan. So we'll see you all there. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय जगतगुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्री प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरि बोल